Tic Talk, Tic Talk, Tic Talk, Talk.
A real Celtic talk show by real Celtic fans from the Carluke Shamrock Supporters Club on Hail Hail Media.
Tic Talk, Tic Talk, Tic Talk, 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 Talk.
Hail, hail, and a warm welcome to Tic Talk with the Carluke Shamrock Celtic Supporters Club. My name is Brian, and this podcast has been recorded on Monday the 17th of December 2012. You can find more information about the club at carlukeshamrock.com and details of the podcast and other Celtic family podcasts at hailhailmedia.com. So Richard is talking about early retirement, but we all know it's just retirement. There's no early about it. He's at that age in life when he's got to put his feet up and chill out a wee bit. Rumour is he's only going to do the video stuff with the C-Webs and leave the P-Webs to do the normal TikTok. Vincent has been helping Richard out and the club with hosting a couple of the shows. But last week he reduced his panel to 2. And again, the talk is that he's just wanting more TikTok talk time. That's trademark BJ Mac. And there's no such tricks tonight. We've got a full team with a good mixture of experience and young enthusiasm. And tonight we have
Andy,
Scott,
Keiran,
Mr. C,
Stephen.
So we've got a lot to get through tonight, guys, so we'll just get to it. A busy agenda. We'll start off with Arbroath, and we'll start off with a young team here. Andy and Scott had a trip up to Arbroath last week with Disco Des driving, and Johnny sharing the carriot, and just you lived to tell the tale. Just so. How was the trip up? What was this experience like?
trip, wasn't it? I think that Shambolic Christmas just follows us everywhere we go. I was alright. I think Andy was a wee bit hyper. I think what was it you were getting told? I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. The caffeinians. Is that allowed?
Allowed that?
Aye, you're allowed that.
It was an alright trip up. It didn't take so long, and it was cold up there.
What about the game?
Cold, it's freezing, but I think we kind of dropped into their level a bit.
Aye. I think so too. The game. I thought the game was rotten, but I didn't really expect anything more. Do you know what I mean? Because I was freezing. I couldn't feel my toes for 2 minutes in.
Aye.
So for 2 minutes in, I wanted to get home, sort of thing. And then when I went home and watched it on the TV, I thought
alcohol cools you down. You think you get a wee warm glow, but see after 20 minutes or 30 minutes, cools you down.
Aye, so I went home and watched it on TV, and I wasn't. We scored our goal, but we done what we had to do. But
did you see the goal?
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember.
The reason I ask that is one of the other Shambolic regular panelists, our brother Keiran, went all the way up to Arbroath and went to the toilet at the porter cabin in 18 minutes. Missed the goal.
He actually mentioned to me that his comment to me was that he didn't think the game would have went to the end had the Sky cameras not been there. He said the pitch was really starting to freeze up bad in the last 20-25 minutes, and had it not been for the game being on Sky and the cameras being there, he thinks the referee would have called the game off.
It looked as if the players were trying to avoid injury, certainly.
Yeah, there were certain comments. I was watching it in the pub, and of course we were getting slagged and all the lucky so-and-sos and things like that. But it wasn't after it.
Was this the Crown then?
No, it was Misaki.
What was it?
It was right after
So you need
Jim Duffin's funeral, like, so
yeah.
It was quite busy and noisy.
You pick your company more careful when you went into Thacky, Mr. C. Shouldn't have been there, allowed to been there by yourself without your Celtic friends.
The Celtic friends were there.
No, were they?
Oh, like Frank.
Oh, well, he's not a real Celtic supporter.
Well, I sort of told him that night and all. But it was him that sort of said something. I thought the game should have been stopped. And Frank's an authority in football, as we all know. And he said, that pitch is dangerous.
Aye.
And it wasn't then, because you were just thinking, oh, this is terrible, till you sort of realised then that it was.
Stephen, what about you? Did you manage to see the game on TV?
I didn't, BJ. No, I had. It was the kids' nativity play at the school. Fortunately,
I had something on.
I was keeping a wee kind of sneaky eye on Twitter though, at various points, and I think I made a wise choice in missing it. The only thing, I've seen the goal obviously, and the only thing I would say, my only comment about the game is absolutely delighted for Adam Matthews to get his first goal. Absolutely stonking goal, and I think absolutely culmination for him of some wonderful performances recently.
Yeah.
Smashing wee player. In fact, he nearly scored at the weekend, didn't he? Cut in and pinged one with his left peg.
Yeah.
But that's my only comment. Great to see him getting on the score sheet.
Interesting you say that about him nearly scoring at the weekend. I was calling Duffy from the you were out with on Friday night at a Quiet Man night down in Bodville.
Yeah.
Well, he had bet Matthews on Saturday because his theory is that the going runs players once they get a goal. And I was sitting watching it on Saturday, and when he went in the run that you described, I thought, oh, that jammy B, but then it obviously didn't. It didn't score. Back to Arbroath, probably only me and you can comment on it, Keiran, if Jim was in the attack. He was.
No, I never seen it either.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
You didn't hear any of the commentary. It was just unbelievable. They showed the disallowed goal about 5 or 6 times. Sorry, their disallowed goal 5 or 6 times from the angle where it didn't show you the player elbowing the keeper in the face. It was just unbelievable, but I'm the only one that would have picked up on that. What about the tactics, boys? They played 3 at the back, just to remind you.
It was crowded at the midfield a wee bit, so it was so to get more of the ball in there, because I think that's what you had to do in that sort of small pitch. I think you need to get bodies in midfield against these teams, because if they're just got to kick you, I think if you get, well, they're not got to beat you with talent, so they try and kick clumps at you or kind of rough it up a bit to get a hold of the ball, and I think that's what they tried to do. But I think we've coped well. I thought Kyle done well. He kind of got a wee bit stuck himself about, but there's no much more to say about the game really.
Apart from Adam Matthews getting his goal.
And we get through, and nobody really got serious injury. Moving on.
Was the draw for the next round been made?
No.
Raith Rovers.
Oh, I thought it was made before the game.
Raith Rovers.
Start of February.
It's quite good
away from home.
Tumble Hutton. We've been up there.
We couldn't go back up there again then.
Yeah.
It's the 2nd or 3rd of February.
Hopefully it'll be a wee bit busier this time than it was last time.
I think so.
Probably be getting the same abuse for the away support.
Hamilton Ackies. Just for the listeners, where Carluke Shamrock ran a car up to Raith Rovers Hamilton Ackies game when Celtic weren't playing that day, just in support of Turnbull Hutton, and the police wouldn't let us in the Raith Rovers end, as some of the boys were wearing colours, and put us in with the Hamilton Ackies fans, who proceeded to give us absolute pelters for the whole 90 minutes. Well, about 80 minutes, because we left with about 10 to go. But anyway, moving on. St Mirren at the weekend. I think we were all at that game.
Keiran.
Oh, was Keiran not there, was it? Keiran, where were you on Saturday?
I was busy.
Christmas shopping, that'll be.
Jingle bells.
Well, if I didn't do it on Saturday, none of you were getting any Christmas presents, so there you go.
Aye, excuses. So,
Shops don't open on a Sunday, don't they?
Was there Sunday as well?
We're not open after 5 o'clock either during the week, are we? No, never. So we'll start off. The Green Brigade had their focus banner, fans of Celtic under surveillance, which I thought was quite clever, and they were protesting at the attention they'd been given from Strathclyde's finest. They also were singing a song, and I couldn't quite make it out. It was something like, "You can stick your Fuji camera in your purse." It was something like that. I couldn't quite make it out.
I rhymed and things like that.
But Stephen, what was your thoughts on the Green Brigade in terms of Saturday? Do you think they're justified?
Completely, yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. First of all, it was great to see them back in the stadium. What a different stadium it is when they're actually there and getting behind the team and making their noise. I thought when they started bringing out their phones and switching the lights on was just phenomenal. I had a senior moment though. Thomas was desperate for me to do it, and I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Oh yes.
So
did he not show you?
Aye, well he did. He took the phone off me in within 10 seconds. He'd a light
for
going.
Listeners, Thomas, how old is Thomas?
Yes, Thomas is 8. So,
thank you.
Absolutely. But I know they're totally. I mean, you could actually see during the before they'd even started their songs and what have you. You could just see the cameras and all the police kind of trained on them constantly. It's just becoming a bit beyond a joke, to be honest with you. I think I was keeping myself up to date on Twitter after the game, and they do. I'm completely totally behind them, but I think they do need to be a wee bit careful that it doesn't just become all about them supporting Celtic at the home games. I think they're at a bit of with some fans. I think they're at a bit of a fine line between them becoming the agenda more than anything else. Although I do completely sympathise with them at the moment. But great to see them back, and the home games without the Green Brigade there would be even worse than they actually are. Yep.
Couple of games. Keiran, what about? I know you weren't there on Saturday, but more generally in terms of the Green Brigade, obviously some people, I think most fans do have sympathies, but there continues to be the issue around pyros at the game and smoke bombs, particularly at away games.
Yeah, and Kevin actually mentioned that whenever I had a couple of pints with Kevin on Friday night, and as you know, Kevin's a big advocate of the Green Brigade. He mentioned about being up at Arbroath on the Wednesday night, and the number of kind of smoke bombs and stuff going off, and he said the number of bangers going off. He said it was just unbelievable. He's like, why does that need to be part of their repertoire? So I would kind of agree with Kevin. I think they need to kind of stop that sort of stuff. I also agree with Stephen in terms of I'm having more and more conversations with fellow Celtic supporters who are, I guess, slightly turning against the Green Brigade. And I mean, I'm a big supporter of them, I like them, but I think, like Stephen, I think there's a fine line, and I think they need to watch, because it is starting to become all about them, and they need to get back to actually just concentrating their efforts on supporting the team and starting all the good stuff that they were doing last season, involving everyone else within the stadium. But I do agree that some of the surveillance stuff and police turning up at guys' door and serving them with arrest warrants and all this sort of nonsense is just an absolute disgrace. But I think some of the things that the Green Brigade are doing with the smoke bombs and stuff, they need to kind of pull that back.
Almost like keeping their side, make sure they do the right things within the rules, and you can highlight. It's easier to highlight the victimisation because we do know it's happening. Yeah, it's just that they're maybe giving the police justification.
I don't give them any excuse. Kind of just stick within the letter of the law until they're kind of dies away a little bit, and they're getting a bit of an easier time, which I think will happen.
Jim, you got any thoughts?
The only thing when you're talking about the smoke bomb things again, My grandson Keiran says I hadn't to mention on the podcast again because I slagged him the last time. Let's carry on at Aberdeen. But we're sitting watching the sports personality of the year. I don't know if you saw it Sunday night.
Yeah, yep.
How about the smoke bomb on that? How was he? That's what Keiran came out with. I don't know if it was Ben Ainsley or somebody. When he won, he held up with 2 smoke bombs. I said, okay, he's in the middle of the water, it's not going to cause it. But then what happened when he was introduced? He walked right onto the middle of the
Stage
arena, or whatever it was,
I
with a
didn't see
smoke
it.
bomb in his hand. So Keiran was up. How can he get away with that?
Aye, see, that's a good point.
Yeah.
A good point, boys. What's your thoughts on it?
But I agree with what Keiran was saying there about they need to try and cut out kind of doing anything
The
wrong
pyros.
to give
Aye.
anything to give the police a kind of excuse or any sort of reason for
Because we know it's
behaving the way
happening.
they're being, but it's not just in the stands when they're in it's see where you get your bookies and your your food and whatnot.
Yes, in the
Patting
concourse.
down, they'll know what you up the stairs will stand if there's there's the 2 rows to get up the kind of stairs.
Yeah.
It's 2 every lane or row, whatever you call it, and patting down search and showing your season ticket. And so many you need to keep showing. If you're known 111, you keep getting moved up.
Put it out.
A lot of folk always try and sneak in there, which is bad, but it gets they just get told where to go. But they shouldn't be.
And how do you know this? Are you in 111?
We're in 112,
Oh, right.
but then
At the
So
game,
you're
on,
right.
the game on Saturday, I go in, I'm 112, but I'm right in the edge, so I go in 111 turnstile,
Aye.
and he goes in one up for me, but the one I went in, and we stood outside the turnstile, do you know what I mean, to finish a bottle of cola,
Aye.
and we had, like, sweeties, we had
Right.
sweeties.
you know the guy, the
sits
boy in the
outside.
wheelchair that sells the.
Sweet
aye,
side.
just at the gates.
Kevin's always trying to barter with him to get him negotiate to get the price down.
The whole person could do that's my key with.
We were standing outside 111 turnstile, and I just went like that, and I was eating my sweeties, and I just finished a bottle of juice, put it in the bin, and I was standing with him, and he said he went up to his turnstile, and I says, right, I'll just get you in there, just at our usual bit.
No, he goes, I'll get you the bookies.
Well,
And I goes, you shouldn't have said that, because see when we went in, there was 4 police officers outside, and they were kind of eyeballing us up and that, and when we got in, 2 of them, the same ones that were outside, had came in, and we were running at the bookies, and we were obviously trying to get a coupon on. And, they came in, they're standing right next, just trying to see what they're doing, so we had to kind of make
taking a dodge them, but
we were talking to Stephen, in fact, on Saturday.
Try to intimidate you.
No, so we just kind of went away for a bit and come back and
Aye.
eventually managed to get a wee bet on, but
back to what I was saying, just outside the turnstile, I get just because I put my sweeties in my pocket, I get frisked by 2 police officers before I got to my turnstile, and I just a couple of metres walk, I get frisked by the police officer, and he actually, I used to just be frisked, but now he actually went into our 2 front pockets, and into my 2 front pockets, and then
He went into your
he
pockets?
took out my sweeties and went like that. He
right.
closed them because he seen that I put it in that one.
Hope it wasn't a sherbet.
I'm sorry, but you don't get that any other stand or any other stuff in around.
I think that's personally, I think just because where you sit, I think it's a mistake. Because they need to do their bit, do you know what I mean? But to prevent, as we were talking about pyrotechnics and that going into the ground, but personally I think just because of the section where you sit, I think it's a disgrace how you can't go to your seat without getting your ticket checked a good few times, getting frisked down, and pretty much getting followed about the police.
It's interesting hearing a perspective from, because we don't sit there, we're not experienced.
It's almost borderline harassment if you want to take it.
Well, it is. I mean,
Definitely.
I think it's illegal to go into someone's pockets.
I think there's absolutely no way you would. I've sat in every bit of the stadium. My season ticket used to be up North Stand, and no matter where I've sat, you never get that anywhere else.
Yeah.
And just another kind of thing we were saying about the pyrotechnics. I think this might be a fact. You might need to check this. I don't think Celtic or the Green Brigade have ever lit off pyrotechnics.
Do you know, I was
Celtic
just
Park.
about to ask that. I don't recall it myself.
No,
I don't.
It's
European games, I think there's been.
Maybe. I don't recall any specific event. But aye, it's interesting. It will be interesting to see how it sorts itself out in the coming months, because something's got to give with it, because it can't continue the way it's going. But I think a bit of work, if the Green Brigade could, in my opinion, be quite clever, and the away games, they're only in control of certain things, but the away games, if it did manage to stop anyone taking in pyros, it would go a long way to helping them easily show the victimisation that they're quite obviously, you've described it.
Definitely.
So moving on to the game itself, obviously 2-0, there's quite a few talking points from the game. Jim, what about Callum Murray, first of all? The 16 penalties. Well, we know you're quite fond of our men in black.
Well, it was just typical, wasn't it?
It's unbelievable.
I mean, the only difference between him and Mr. Collum was that he was facing the thing when it was a blatant penalty, you know.
4. There was 4 strong claims. I haven't seen them on television now, but they're still guaranteed.
There's definitely 2 there.
On television, there were definites.
Yeah.
You know, at the game, it's as usual, you know. With the TC that we didn't see. But it's just been typical of the referees. I mean, there's the thing, and I'm not a great fan of Kenny Shields by a long way, but he's in bother now, and every time he moves, he's getting done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, I mean, referees have been like that for years. It's the fact that, I watched Wally Collum the other week there, I don't know, was it the United game last week, where he gave a penalty and then he made play, he did something in the Dundee United game, he did a couple of things, and it was sheer incompetence. That was all it was. The guys, they're just not a good referee in the place at the moment, as far as I'm concerned. They never were any good, but they were untrustworthy.
That's Stephen.
We'll not say they were bigoted or biased or against you or anything like that.
They might. One of the other panellists might.
But they might.
The host might.
Well, he knows more than we do.
Aye, you better believe it.
But the refereeing is terrible.
Yeah.
It's mistakes. Anybody else that makes any mistakes gets punished for them. One way or another, whether you lose your job or get suspended or something.
It's that lack of accountability.
It's just nothing.
Stephen?
Can't agree more. I mean, the two, I've not seen the reruns on the TV, but certainly the two down the Celtic end, we were obviously shooting into the Celtic end first half on Saturday for the first time in a long time, but the one that sticks out in my mind in particular is the one in Kyle, where if he's not given a penalty, he must book Kyle. He must say it's a dive. There's no other option for him. I know sometimes if you don't give a penalty, it's not necessarily a yellow card to the attacker. But he was clearly saying if he wasn't given a penalty there, that was a dive, and he did neither. But the two, I mean, there was the one in Hooper obviously as well. Yeah,
which was borderline in or out of the box, but it was a foul, irrespective.
Absolutely, aye.
And the handball as well. Was it Matthews? Was it Matthews or?
I tried to cross it.
I can't even remember who it was.
The two players slid in with their arms up in the air.
It was Jim Goodwin, I think it was his hands up. What you're saying about the referees there, Willie Collum's getting the platform in the Champions League. After the Spartak Moscow game, I go home and watch the kind of Champions League highlights, and he's refereeing the Bayern Munich game, and that kind of shocks me. It
wasn't just him, was it?
It's frightening that he's been given this platform, and he made a couple of mistakes in that game as well. I think he done what Mr. C was saying there. He gave a penalty and then didn't give it, or he changed it.
It might have been that game. That I was watching. I just remembered it on the telly.
Bayern Munich game.
It's unbelievable to see that. You know what I mean? It's happening week in, week out in the SPL, and you can see the man's sheer incompetence to do his job. Do you know what I mean? And then he's doing it at a European level. Do you know what I mean? You know, it is unbelievable.
The worst one I've seen probably this season was Tynecastle. a few weeks back. That was one of the worst performances of a referee you've seen for
horrendous.
a long while.
Horrendous. And the thing is, it's not highlighted as often because we're winning these games, but it's still there, as bad as ever. The one that got me, I don't know if you noticed it, in the second half was when Bruni got the head injury. And he allowed play to break up the pitch.
Was that the one where he nearly scored? He dived in. Did he wallop the post, or did the keeper roll him? The keeper
had
get
the
him?
keeper.
Aye.
But it was clearly a head injury where play should be stopped straight away, and he continued it. But I was hearing on the radio this morning that something similar happened with Arsenal. Was it Arsenal or Liverpool or something? Tottenham was it? Aye. It was one of those English teams.
The boy was out flat on his back.
Aye.
And we just played on.
Aye. So, moving on to more positive stuff, the team. What was your thoughts, Keiran?
I only seen the highlights, but
Or was you not at the game?
it looked as if they made a barrel load of chances. And I think I've read a few kind of comments in some of the media web pages today saying Lennon's come out and saying he wants his team to start putting teams away quicker and maybe taking more of the chances, but whether he's actually said that or not, who knows. But we do seem to be creating a lot of chances just now, and maybe not scoring as many as we should, but to be honest, I'm happy as long as they keep on making the chances, because the tide will turn and they'll eventually give someone an absolute thumping. Hopefully it's the first round of that first leg of the last 16 in the Champions League.
That would be nice.
Which would be nice. So, no, the team seem to be playing well just now. I think there's a few guys right on form. I think the fullbacks are playing particularly well. Matthews and Lustig seem to be right on top of their game just now. So the signs are looking good.
So we'll move on to someone that was actually at the game. Andy, what was your thoughts on the team on Saturday? And we played 3 at the back again, which seems to be something.
I thought
You think they were a bit
at home. I thought it was a risk that it wasn't such a risk. Do you know what I mean? But it was a good option they had to put 3 at the back. Do you know what I mean? And crowd the midfield and trying, because me and Scott, before we actually went in the ground, we were talking to Stephen and he agreed with us, and we said it's you know what I mean, it's due. We're due to thump someone. We're due to put 4 or 5 past the team. Do you know what I mean? And we didn't put 4 or 5 past them, but we certainly created a load of chances. Do you know what I mean?
Sorry to interrupt you there. They created more. When I was leaving the game, I actually didn't think we had that many chances, and then I've watched it back, the highlights, and we've actually created more than what I thought. It was quite it's a strange one. Scott Brown should have had a hat-trick. He had 2 or 3, which is weird saying that for him. The header from 2 yards out, I don't know how he's missed that, but...
And 2 goals from corners again. I mean, I can remember sitting this time last year and I don't think we had scored from a corner in 2 years or something. And then that's how many this season?
Got a couple of big guys in there that maybe weren't getting a game, and so certainly Wanyama causes a lot of issues at a corner. I think the centre half,
I think there's so many
Ambrose
options.
causes a number of issues for people.
Wilson.
So I think
He wouldn't have been in there
changing.
last year.
I was surprised, isn't it? What do you think his reason is for the kind of 3 at the back or the 5 at the back? Do you think he's just tinkering, or do you think he's maybe got aspirations to play that in Europe?
I think he'd made a comment. He was interviewed before the game. First of all, I like 3 at the back, and I've been surprised given the fact that he was very, very successful in a Celtic team that played 3 at the back under Martin O'Neill. I've been surprised that he's not played 3 at the back more. But he made an interesting comment in his interview before the game in Radio Scotland, saying that he was concerned about our lack of width, and obviously Commons was out and Forrest is out, and incidentally I think we are seriously missing Forrest. I think we've been toiling without him as an outball. I know he's not everybody's kind of favourite.
I think he's had a poor season so far. Up until he got injured, I thought he just didn't look as confident going forward this year as he did last year. But sometimes it takes players a bit to kind of break into the season. But unfortunately, he got injured and he's obviously missed a fair chunk. But he is a good player. But I just thought he was a wee bit off form at the start of the season.
I think maybe he was carrying a bit of an injury as well.
I think his injury's been there for a while.
I think so. I think he's been playing through it. But the three at the back thing, Brian. It's as I say, I've been surprised he's not tried it out before now. I thought it worked really, really well at the weekend. To be honest with you, bar scoring the goals, it was a 4 or 5-0 type performance from us.
Yeah.
I thought we absolutely, completely, totally and utterly dominated the game from start to finish. Our retention of the ball, I mean, I think the stats were we had something like 70% of the ball. Played some really, really nice stuff, and there's guys absolutely on top of their game at the moment. There really is. I mean, Scott Brown was magnificent, absolutely magnificent.
That's something coming from you, Steve.
I mean, it's just, and you're looking. I was looking at the team during the first half and kind of looking at each individual player, and every single one of those players in the starting 11 is, £1 million plus players. We've got a real squad of very, very valuable footballers,
and they're all over the past year or couple of years have all improved.
Yep. And they're all improving.
Continuing to improve.
And they're almost all improving as a group.
Yeah.
It's not like, one or two of them are improving, they're all collectively improving. Great to see. I thought Kyle
coming back
had a really, really good game at the weekend. The Bluestage, as Keiran's mentioned, I didn't rate him at all to start with. I think he is looking like a fantastic player. The midfield were great, but it's just, I don't know what it is. We kind of miss, for me, we miss a wee ingredient up front. Not too sure what it is. Don't know whether it's a number 10 sitting behind. Not too sure, but there's a wee, for me, something missing up front at the minute.
I think we miss Commons when he's not playing.
Yes.
So I think last season in the home games, I think we missed Stokes. That's what I think. When Hooper, Hooper in these home games against the kind of lower teams, he has a tendency to kind of in and out of games and maybe not get as many touches the ball. When he had an off day, Stokes would, it's like we were scalping a few teams last year, and Hooper and Stokes were scoring nearly every home game. If Hooper had a bad day, Stokes would get a couple of goals or get the winner.
There's always a good bit of competition between them as well. In terms of, apparently there was always the bit of banter in the dressing room between the two of them about who was going to finish the top goal scorer that season. So used to be a bit of obviously competition amongst them.
They were neck and neck for a
long time.
Hooper scored 5 against Hearts in the last.
And that kind of took him over the line. So I think you're right. I think we have missed Stokes. I mean, Stokes, he's not one of my more favourite players, to be honest. I think he's an ordinary player, but he definitely delivers whenever he plays against the likes of the St Mirrens.
He's a really, really good SPL player.
Yeah, no, I think so too. But in some of the bigger games, he tended just to kind of either not be in the game or wasn't playing to start with. Like Stephen, I would maybe like to see a number 10, but I noticed from the highlights that Lassad come on.
Yeah,
and I think he offers us something. I think if we gave him a run of games, it'd be interesting to see exactly what he's bringing.
He come on for Sammy.
I do think there's something there, definitely.
He's getting a good few minutes at the moment. He keeps getting. He's not like getting 2 games then out of it for like 4 like Celtic have been kind of known for doing with signings over the past few years, kind of leaving them out or not playing them for months and months. He's been writing about it.
I think it looks like a cracking player.
He's got a lovely touch.
Footballer. Beautiful touch, great movement. Always looking for the ball.
Looks really intelligent, doesn't he?
I think they might end up just cutting their losses with your man Miku in January, and it wouldn't surprise me if he goes out the club and there's another loan signing comes in to kind of replace him.
Mo Bangura's back.
Yes, we hear he's back.
He's not back yet, is he?
Aye, Post-it notes all over East End of Glasgow off his car. You didn't see that picture?
When Yama's happy to see him back, I think he had a wee tweet saying welcome back Mo to the club and he's done actually. I know there's a bit in the paper the day bit in the paper about that AIK Stockholm have sent him back because they didn't want him, and that he was meant to be on a loan deal till the end of the season, and they've cut it short. But it's in fact that originally when the deal was done, it was actually only made
6 months.
for December.
Oh,
So that's why we mentioned the last one. This is when he'd be coming
unlike
back.
the newspapers,
Oh, I know.
been inaccurate in the reporting of anything to do with Celtic.
He has a poor spell in Stockholm. He scored 5 goals and he's been scoring the Europa League.
I have to say, I've just never seen anything in him that makes me possibly think he'll ever be a Celtic player, but that's just my personal opinion. Probably just one other thing to finish in the St Mirren game. What about their tactics? St Mirren have, in the past few years since Danny Lennon's been manager, always come out and tried to play football against us.
Good passing team, good ball
What about the
retention.
way they played on Saturday?
But do you not think that's maybe got something to do with the fact that they came out and tried to play football against us 5 or 6 weeks ago and we absolutely scalped them?
But see that game, I didn't think there was
5 goals in it.
the result flattered us a little bit, albeit we played well.
We scored 3 goals or 4 goals before half time, did we
4
not?
at half-time,
But did you see they had a line of six along the back? The formation for parts of the game, not all the game, formation moved from 6-4-0 to a 6-3-1.
I think since
Unbelievable.
Danny Lennon came in, Neil Lennon against Danny Lennon, it's I think that's us 24-0 in aggregate now.
Is it?
That's
no scored.
That's no scored
Maybe
against us.
that maybe gives us the answer.
And that's the tactics from the manager, who said that teams have no fear of coming to Celtic Park any longer. Get it right up them.
Oh, harsh, Stephen, harsh. Come on, this is a family show, Stephen. For goodness sake. On my debut, Stephen McLaughlin.
I'm going to get that about.
Oh, for goodness sake. Right, so we're all happy at the weekend. Good result.
And I get my Christmas shopping done,
And
so I'm
Keiran gets
happy.
Christmas shopping done.
You know there?
No.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, 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 tock.
Next on the agenda is the European Champions League draw. Zadok Priest. I can hear it now. So it takes place this Thursday,
man.
I believe.
10 a.m.
10
Celtic Park time.
10 a.m. I thought it was 10:30 Celtic Park.
Is it 10:30? Is it? Oh,
Celtic
that's
Park
right.
time, but-
I'll be tuned in, not too far away
So-
from Celtic Park.
Our options are the possibilities are PSG, Schalke, Malaga, Dortmund, Juve, Bayern, Man U or Barca. I'll just get round you.
I don't
I think we can get Barca.
Trying to get
Oh,
Barca.
sorry, I've got Barca written there as in the eye.
Schoolboy,
We can't get Barca.
Barca,
Vincent or Richard, you can come back anytime.
Anytime. That's me
Barca.
sacked. That's me sacked. Stephen. No, in fact, you've spoken enough. And
Is it just a one-word answer?
who did you want?
Malaga.
Are you going?
I don't know, maybe. Have you away days in the car?
Have you got a passport? Have you got your own passport? You're not
He's still on his
mum's.
mum's.
Scott.
I went on I don't know if you've seen it, I went on a bit of a rant yesterday on Twitter about...
Do you think I sit about
No,
waiting?
you might-
I better
you might
look
have
at my
seen
Twitter
that.
in case
You might
Scott
have
is-
seen 4 big tweets in a row. I was kind of on a rant, seen a lot of people saying that they wanted such and such, and I said the most reasonable, and if you're not thinking about yourself and you're thinking about the club, what's best for the club, the best option has to be Malaga.
You
It
think
has
so?
to be
4th in the Spanish league just now.
but inexperienced.
They cruise
So
through
who
the
do you want? Is that who you want?
Oh,
Malaga?
definitely.
And are you going?
I think so. Maybe I.
So does your mum need to go as well?
No.
Because you're on a passport.
No,
No.
need to renew
You
that.
heard
Actually.
about our riotous tunes for Arbroath and such.
You don't need a passport.
Oh, he's done it all before he fell.
Keiran,
I will take any of the teams apart from Man U or Juve, and that's from a selfish perspective because I don't want to go to either of those locations. Manchester doesn't float my boat. I don't like the place, don't like the team. Juve, Keiran is probably stands out as the worst European trip I've been on, and we were treated like cattle, and when we got into the stadium we were forced to empty our pockets into buckets and take out all the coins. You then went to the snack bar and they gave you all the same coins back in your change, and when we scored we were cheated there to start with, and whenever we scored we were getting hit with coins, balls, seats, everything that the Juventus fans could fling at us. They are absolute scum and I don't want to go there, but I'll go anywhere.
But we played astonishingly brilliant.
We did. Wave after wave. It was so I'll take any of them. Preference would be PSG or Dortmund would be my favourite, but any of the other ones I would be happy with, and
Jim?
I'm going.
Any at all.
Any?
But,
Are you going?
I would like to get PSG because I've
We
been
can
there
take
before.
Mrs. C for a romantic
No.
weekend to Paris.
No, it's just the last time I was in Paris,
Aye, I was there as well.
and
You got the train, didn't you?
I went by train at the time. But I remember coming back from
You
the
went
game.
to 10 o'clock mass in Notre Dame, didn't you?
Did I?
Just made that up.
I must have been waiting on a train. Anyway, we're coming back from the game and we're on the metro, and it was absolutely mobbed. And I was there with a couple of guys that I worked with, and my friend Andy had said, follow me when we go off this train thing and I'll take you to the students' quarter because the drink's cheap. Right, so that's fine. But on the train it was absolutely mobbed. I'm standing the way down the other end, a couple of my pals, bodies all over the place, and my nephew was standing up at the other door, right on the tube, you can see right up, and he's telling all the boys round about him, follow me when you go off, I know where this great Irish bar is, just up round the corner and everything like that.
Dominic?
No, Tony Callahan, and we're standing there, and these two boys that are standing next to me says, see that so and so, can I say it? No. The a-hole up there, see that a-hole? Callahan thinks he knows everything, so he knows nothing, So I just turned to him and said, see that a-hole up there? That's my nephew. So I'd like to go back and get Tony to come and take me to that Irish bar, because the student place didn't exist. Well, it existed, but when you walk in, they all know you're not a student.
So charge you double. Right.
So
I wasn't cheap Paris, was it?
PSG for that reason. Dortmund for never been there, and I'd like to go there and see that.
Well, there's a good kind of relationship between the Celtic and Dortmund fans. Stephen, what about you?
One of the German teams, I think.
For Schalke,
for similar,
Dortmund or Juve?
Yeah, aye. Or maybe Barca. It'd be great to get Dortmund for a whole host of reasons. I mean, they look fantastic. I watched their game against Man City, and that was with them with half their team sitting on the bench, and they were fantastic. They were absolutely brilliant. The stadium looks great. Munich Stadium looks phenomenal as well. Really enjoyed my trips to Germany in the past. The Stuttgart trip that we were on, I think, really rates as my favourite ever European trip for a whole host of reasons.
Oh my goodness!
But so if I had to pick one, I would, for the glamour of it and the fact that their stadium looks absolutely incredible, I would go with Munich.
Bayern. And are you going?
Yes.
And does Mrs. Papa know?
No. They did a thing with the stadium in Munich, see, because it's a ground sharing with 1860 Munich. I don't know how they do it, but the stadium's lit up. You'll see if you Google pictures. And then when they play in a derby, they make it half red and half blue, and then during the day it's white, and then kind of
I've seen the pictures of it, it's pretty impressive. It's just a big torch. You've got to shine it on it.
It looks like a big, it's got a big balloon, if you know what I mean, like the outside instead.
It's nice stadium.
I'd just like to say, I think we can get through this round.
I do as well.
I honestly think we can get through this.
And do you know what? See, if we do get through this round, you never know. Seriously, it then becomes... I think we can. And
25th of May.
25th of May, Wembley.
Decided against Barcelona.
No, I would agree. I don't think... I think Celtic in a head-to-head, 2-game head-to-head are a match on their day for anyone.
Yep. I think the home and away format from now on could suit us. I think we're set up and equipped to defend strongly and score away from home. And I honestly don't think that any of the teams there... The worry, I guess, would be that you get Man United and it becomes a... I know saying a cup tie sounds ridiculous because it is a cup tie, but you know that kind of...
Yeah,
you know, British scrappy, you know, kind of tie, and I think that would be.
And one of our big strengths, which we already touched on, was our set pieces.
Yep.
And it tends to be British teams can cope with that a lot better than
because they're more used to playing against it. And
someone was saying the other day, Schalke's manager got sacked.
No, I think I think out of most of the teams you've listed, they're the team that are struggling the most just now.
Well, they're also potentially, there's a lot of interest in Huntelaar in the January break. A lot of the EPL clubs are looking at him, for example, and he's, you know, obviously the guy that gets most of their goals. So that would be an interesting one. I think there's two things, isn't there? There's taking a tie that you think, you know, would give you the best footballing opportunity, and there's taking a tie that you think would really be mouth-watering.
Right. I just want the best football opportunity. I think you boys, Scott and Andy, both said that. They both said Malaga. They're in deep financial trouble as well
that's my reason
at the moment, and it looks like
Malaga.
they could.
Yeah, because I see that they're in deep financial trouble, and they might have to sell quite a few of their players in January.
Again,
If that happens, then that's weakening their squad, and when we play, if we get them, you know what I mean, the ties will be after January, so they could have weakened by then. So I think that I'd also agree. I'd say the two, none of them are weak teams, but the two weakest I would have to probably say Schalke and Malaga. You know what I mean, they're the two.
I'd have to agree with him there.
Am I right in saying that we play the home game first?
Yeah.
We play at home first,
yes.
Which was exactly the scenario when we went to Seville.
Every tie,
every single game we played home first.
Yeah.
I think every team on that list, I think we've got apart from Barcelona, we can. I think on our day we can beat any team at home. Do you know what I mean? With the support we've got behind us, I think on our day we can take points off any team at home. But
we've scored quite a few goals, and we've scored in every game away from home this season.
My worry is even if we get the likes of Bayern Munich and say we did pull off a result at home, they do what I think they could do. We do see when you bring it back to your home ground, and you know what you need to, you know the result you need to get, and you just go and get it. Like Celtic against Spartak Moscow, they know what they had to do and they went and done it. My fear is that they would maybe a team like Bayern Munich be too strong for us in that kind of in their second leg. If they know what they need to do, I think they would. I don't think we'd stand much of a chance, but that's me being quite a pessimist there.
Yeah, so be quiet.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, 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 tock.
Okay, moving on swiftly. Next games, we've got a few games coming up. Ross County this Saturday, Boxing Day or St Stephen's Day, Dundee away, and Hibs away on Saturday the 29th, and then Motherwell at Celtic Park on the 2nd of January. So a few games coming up. We'll start with you, Jim. Ross County, we drew with them the last game up in Dingwall. That was actually the first game I seen Lennon playing the three at the back. I mean, it was obviously first time the players had seen it as well, I think. But your thoughts on Saturday?
Just like the rest of the sort of SPL now, you get some weird results, and they all seem to be scoring goals. And so I don't know Ross County, but we should, the way we're playing now, we should win without any bother. I'm not feared to anybody in the next couple of weeks.
Aye.
Nobody, not even away from home or things like that.
Do you think having...
I think what they're saying now is what's really going to happen, that we're going to pull away now.
Yeah.
We've been waiting on it for a while. We thought we were going to do it this week. We're going to hammer them, we're going to hammer everybody. But if we just keep going the way we're going now, I'll take 2-0 every week. Bring it on.
Aye. So 2-0 your prediction for
Could be
Ross
lower.
County?
Somebody's going to get hammered.
Aye, I think so as well. I really do. I think it's just going to click like the Aberdeen 9-0 game a couple of seasons ago. Everything just went away. Keiran, what about you for the Dundee on St Stephen's Day?
I can't wait for that one because there's a busload is going from Carluke. We're leaving.
Shambolic bus is going.
Shambolic bus is going, so I think it's a relatively early start.
2 o'clock bus, I think.
2 o'clock bus.
We're stopping in it.
No, careful now.
Some hotel in the outskirts of Dundee.
Have you told them you're coming?
Yes.
Good.
Tickets been sitting in the windowsill for over a week and a half, and if Kevin's listening, haha, you're not getting it back because you gave all your tickets away.
Oh, that's harsh, harsh. And has it got a soft play area for the boys?
I'm in dinner duty in Boxing Day.
Dinner duty?
Aye.
What does that entail?
Toasted cheese. Feet up with
You the waiter?
feet up with a tin of quality street watching some rubbish on the telly, no doubt.
Aye.
I'm
So-
looking forward to Dundee.
Aye, so there's quite a few going up in the old Shambolic supporters bus.
Couple of good away games within 3 days, that's what I like. Dundee and Hibs. I'm really looking forward to Hibs as well, actually. I think it'll be a good game.
Aye.
I think they might step up a bit for that.
Aye, Hibs up until very recently were going pretty well,
Not
but
won
I think
a-
I've
not won a
struggled the
game in the
last
last 5.
Aye,
Did they
few
not?
games.
Well, they won the Edinburgh Derby, and that doesn't seem like...
That was
seemed
a
like a couple of weeks
cup,
ago. Oh, right,
So the last
Aye,
5
last
league
5
games,
league
I
games,
don't think they've won.
Aye.
They're kind of, the star is fading.
It's looking like a softer game for us than it was a few weeks ago, isn't it? It was looking like a
Aye,
harder
a league
game.
decider.
Aye, it was, aye.
I do agree with Jim, but I think we could be as much as, or as many as 9 points clear by the time we go into this kind of winter, 2-week kind of winter shutdown thing that
Aye.
we're going to be having in January. So I think as long as we just keep on winning, and hopefully there'll be a little bit of daylight between us and the rest of the other teams.
So predictions then. We'll go round, we'll do it for all 4 games. Start with you, Andy. Ross County.
Ross County, I think it's our time to thump Sunday.
Right, prediction. That's 5-0.
It is. I was just about to say
Right,
5-0.
and see, I'm a mind reader.
5-0.
Dundee.
3-1.
Hibs.
3-0.
3-0. Oh, Motherwell at Celtic Park. They're up there.
One each.
Start one. Ooh, controversial. He does. I suppose the wee Ginger Mullet does try against us a wee bit more than he does against
Any other team in the league.
Attendance FC.
Sevco.
Peace lads,
What did you call it?
Attendance FC.
Attendance FC. Yeah, beauty.
Quite like that one.
Right. We'll come on to him a wee bit maybe. Scott, Ross County. What are you thinking?
I think it's more of the same with what we've just done against St Mirren, so it just depends if we put the chances away. 2-3
Right. And you're confident against Dundee, Hibs? What's your thoughts?
Dundee 3-0.
Your predictions?
Hibs.
Hibs, Motherwell?
I don't think we'll win all 4. I think we might slip up against Hibs or Motherwell, a draw in one of them.
Kieran, you're all 4, aren't you?
Yes.
Jim, you were the same.
All 4. No lose a goal.
Stephen?
I was just going to say the same. All 4 and not concede a goal.
I'm going 3 wins and a draw.
Strong predictions. Okay, moving on quickly to this week's hot topics and some info from the boss. First of all, we had some questions, or a question I should say. Richard has emailed me, and it was from a Douglas Kane via Twitter, and he's asked, do we need to sign a creative midfielder? He wrote to compliment Bruni, and that was compliment with an E, no with an I. He doesn't say, I like your haircut, Bruni, or you really suit that shirt, Bruni. It was more to assist him in the middle of the park and compliment his play.
English lessons are started early, right?
Then you come back.
So, so do we need that creative midfield? And it probably touches on what you said earlier on, Stephen, where you think maybe we're missing a number 10. What's your thoughts? Do you think we need to sign someone in that area? I'll go to you first, Stephen, since you touched on it earlier.
Aye, especially when I think it becomes apparent when you don't have Commons or Forrest in the side, that there's an element of...
Does Forrest fill that role?
No, I don't think he does. But what he does do is he allows you to get the ball wide, and then he does, he creates from the wing, if you like.
Yeah.
But I mean, Saturday for me was a prime case of us having so much of the ball in the middle of the park, and then not a great deal coming from it. There was no incisive passing, nobody kind of, taking it from the middle of the park and kind of doing something a wee bit different. Lots of nice, ball retention and passing on the ball, but no real kind of, none of that kind of number 10 sort of, doing a wee bit different from the middle. So yeah, but I mean, isn't every team looking for somebody like that? And where would you get him in January? January's a notoriously difficult time to do any kind of decent transfer business. All the teams that have got players that you would maybe be looking to bring in are not keen to lose these guys at that time of year. So
yeah,
not sure. We definitely need something. I think we're more liable to end up in January with another loan type striker, or I'm seeing kind of Johnny Russell's name getting mentioned in dispatches quite a bit again as well. So
we'll move on to generally the transfer window then. Has anyone got anything else to add to do we need someone to complement Bruni? I actually thought it was interesting, that's how the question was phrased, do we need someone to complement Bruni? And I think of our midfield, Bruni's not played that much this year.
Right.
Because you think of the other midfielders that we've got there, Wanyama and Kyle's coming back, Ledley's been playing.
I don't think we need anything in the middle of the park. I would just leave it as it is until the end of the season. I totally agree. My preference would be to maybe bring in some reinforcements up front, but I would leave the midfield as it is. I think we've got enough talent and enough strength in there to see us through. The only thing that would change that for me would be if we possibly lost anyone from the midfield. And
that's kind of where I was coming to more generally in the transfer window. Is there anyone that we can afford to lose? Where does it come to the level of what you're offered? When do you take a bid? We talk about this asset management of players, where Celtic have traditionally been pretty poor. So where do you see, any of you see us selling anyone if the opportunity arises?
I think that it would take a silly offer to persuade Lennon to let anyone go, and I think the carrot dangling in front of the players of the last 16 is enough to keep them at Celtic Park until the end of the season. So
if it's a silly offer, do you think Lenny's got that decision to make?
Yes.
What would you class as a silly offer?
In the region of 10 million.
It depends who for. I mean, if you
got to get 10 million for Chris Commons, he's getting on a bit now. Well,
if you get offered 10 million for Wanyama, would you take it?
You really need to think about it.
Pass.
I don't think you're getting a choice.
Yeah, I would.
I wouldn't. I think he's worth.
No, but I don't think you're going to get it. That's the thing.
Right now, I don't think you would get any more than that. But I think he's a vital player on the team. You need him in there.
I wonder about Wanyama, what he might have in his contract in terms of a release clause if a bid comes in at a particular value.
Do you not think that they've heard of that? by now. If there was a...
I've heard a lot of things, so I think we'd have heard that if there was something, because the papers are punting them every week, aren't they? As usual.
I think he's the one, certainly with the biggest risk of losing. Wanyama and Hooper seems to be the major amount of speculation, but I think it would take a lot of money to shift them with the lure of the last 16 that we're in, and I think Celtic would maybe make a decision to hold on to both until the summer and hope that it starts a bidding war, as opposed to, I don't think you ever get the same value from a player selling him in January as what you do if you're selling them in the summer transfer window. I don't think generally players go for as much in the January transfer window.
I think one of the challenges we've got at the moment is the fact that perhaps the teams who would look to bid the big money, we're still in the Champions League and these guys are European Cup tied, for example. My opinion would be that, not that I would like to see anyone going from the middle of the park, but my opinion is, in terms of the squad, we could probably cope with losing someone from the middle of the park more than we could cope with losing a striker. And by the way, I mean, if somebody were to come in and offer £10 million for Hooper in January, I don't think you even think twice about it. Wanyama's a different kettle of fish. But in terms, I mean, there was a midfield on Saturday there. Midfield were magnificent on Saturday, and Joe Ledley wasn't even in the bench. So
he's missed a couple of games now.
We are, I think, really well covered in the middle of the park. And if you had to lose somebody from one area of the team, I'm not saying I would like to, but if you had to lose somebody from one area of the team, then I think we could cope better losing a midfielder. Yeah.
What about defence-wise? Do you need strengthening there?
No, I think the defence has got good cover and stuff in it. I don't know what you boys think.
I think the defence is coping really well now. You've got Adam Matthews coming on to a game now, you know what I mean, he's named the score sheet. You've got Lustig as well. I think he's been playing outstanding recently.
Total turnaround.
It has been a total turnaround. At the start I didn't rate the boy at all, but now he's showed his worth, and
especially in Europe,
he's, you know what I mean, he's been the first choice fullback, one of the first choice fullbacks here, because he's, you know what I mean, he's a strong player for the big games.
What about Wilson, Kelvin Wilson?
Well, I think we definitely need to keep us. There's nothing about letting him go or that, but I think he's our first choice centre half now. With Ambrose, I think that's. Really? I think
Ambrose
keep that partnership together.
I think Ambrose has been fantastic for Wilson.
He's a bit kind of dilly on the ball, but he's.
Sometimes I think that myself. You think when Wilson, both of them actually, when they get the ball, they're a wee bit casual, and you know what I mean. You're almost thinking they could make a wee mistake, a wee slip up here, but so far that's not happened. Hopefully it doesn't, and we'll carry on.
They've also got the cover in there, the forgotten man of Celtic Park at the moment, Thomas Rodney, who seems to have kind of disappeared of late. So
he did get injured, didn't he? But he was on the bench.
I think he didn't do himself any favours, kind of being in the press a while back. So, but we've got some good cover, so I think we're okay at the back.
And if need be, you can get Wanyama and.
That's true as well. I can drop Wanyama back.
Keiran will grow.
Of course. I go back to that question there. I was saying it says, do we need a number 10 kind of player? I don't think we could do with it, but so could everybody. I think to go and win the league, and I think we're fine for Europe. I think we're not going to get one player's not going to make so much difference that we'd need to buy somebody. Yeah. If that makes sense. I don't think we need a number 10 for the league or for the rest of the season. I just think we could do with one.
It would be a nice to have. It's not a must.
We coped on Saturday fine enough without
it'd be good to find
Commons or Forest.
A crowd lifter.
A Ludo.
No, a crowd lifter. Somebody that is in there and we'll go, hey, we'll sign whoever it is, you know.
One of these.
And they go in there and they just stand that wee bit different.
Yeah, they've got that wee spark, they've got that wee, they've got that something different.
We're going to see.
Aye.
Yeah.
See your players that can hit your long shots and how they kind of Nakamura's. You want somebody like that, just
Call that Charlie Mulgrew.
Aye, of course, but he's the kind of.
I think Chris Commons
So-
is one of the players.
Aye.
I think he's one of the players. When he comes back, I think he'll be back to how he was playing and hopefully bang in the goals.
I think what's good about sorry Stephen, I think what's good about the team now is if a couple of players are having a bad game, they make up, like somebody else is they're always somebody else will in their same position will be on form. If say Lustig has a bad game, you've got Matthews is on form now,
There's cover for each position.
and they're all
and competition for each
that's it,
position.
that's it. You've got it spot on there.
Aye, I'll help you out with the words, wee man.
Just going back,
Sorry, on you go,
to
Stephen.
your point though, Brian, about the
Oh, I'm host, I don't make any points, I just ask questions. I've been warned.
but
I have no opinion.
but about realising your assets. I think
The asset management.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the whole club's transfer policy is geared to that now. It's clearly geared to going out, bringing players in, and moving them on. And we had a perfect example last season. Seems like a long time ago now. Last season with Izaguirre, where at one point, you know, Izaguirre we were looking at, you know, potentially getting bids of £10 million in for him.
Yeah.
And then he gets injured, and you know, I'm not saying he can't work his way back up to that. However, I think you've got to. I think we can't. We're a club, despite the fact we've just raked in a lot from the Champions League, when we're about to earn even more for the next the round of 16, and then obviously when we qualify from the next round as well. But I think if a big bid come in for any of the players in the current squad, I think the club would take it.
Aye, depending on the size of the bid and for which player.
I think the player we need to keep the most, I think Fraser Forster. I think he's, if you want to keep him, it'd be him.
Anyone else agree, disagree with that? I mean, my own view, since you're all quiet, I would say Wanyama's the player we need to keep. Out of it, I think it makes the biggest difference to the team. I do accept what you're saying though.
Don't miss him when he's not there.
Don't you think though that Wanyama is going to be the most difficult one to keep? Because I think he's the one out of all of our players who's probably got the strongest aspirations to play somewhere else.
Yeah.
Personally, I think.
Definitely.
I
think
I don't disagree with that
him,
either.
or is it, I know it's just another thing in the papers, but is he not already said a few months back that he'd like to?
I think it was.
Mind you,
Again,
so
you're
did
talking about
so
it.
did Mo Bangura. He said that he's just using Celtic as a stepping stone to the English Premier League.
Aye. Indian Premier League, I think it was. It was a cricket. The IPL, Mo Bangura, wicket keeper. Moving on then. So we'll oh man. Well, hopefully we'll get. I would be really happy if we get through the transfer window unscathed. No additions and no losses.
Yep.
I think that would be a successful transfer window from my perspective. Moving on, another hot topic at the moment. You don't seem to get away with it. I've never known a guy to get as much free advertising through the taxpayers' money via the BBC and also Scotland Tonight. Mr. Green, Chico,
Charles.
Chuck, Charlie Green, and the Sevco share issue. The prospectus was released a week or so ago. It didn't add up with the number of shares, and what's come out in the past few days when he's been touting everything. It just seems like desperation, absolute desperation. Keiran, which you got any thoughts on it?
Yes, I had the misfortune of listening to him on Radio Clyde earlier this evening,
I've never. Is that a new station?
And
I've
he sounded like a deflated man whenever he was talking about the share issue, and in general in response to the take-up of the Rangers supporters,
Right, I didn't hear
they
this.
expected to raise £10 million from the Rangers supporters, and the figure being branded about just now is 1.6 million from the Rangers supporters, but he came on the radio and claimed, no, it's not 1.6 million, it's somewhere between 3 and 5. So
Well
he's the guy running the share issue, and he doesn't know if it's 3, it's 4, or it's 5,
It's a bit of a margin,
or if it's
that, isn't
1.6. So
Well, to be fair, I mean, it's not finished yet.
Aye,
The
it's the-
closing date's
Oh,
tomorrow,
aye,
I
yes.
believe. So
tomorrow afternoon. So
there might be a big rush.
And I just think it's an absolute joke for a group of zombies whose club died, and they're obviously having to reincarnate to not be putting their hand in their pocket whenever they had the Rangers fighting fund. They've had this, they've had that, and when they're given the chance to step in, help their club, raise some funds, possibly even take a seat on the board if they can take a large enough percentage of the shares, that they've got to the paltry sum of 1.6 million, and it just shows them up for what they are.
It really is quite interesting that, as you say, the take-up hasn't been as much as what Mr. Green had hoped for. But Stephen, obviously, Celtic had a share issue. Fergus had that in 1994. I think the minimum buy-in value at that point was £620.
600 odd quid, yep.
That's nearly 20 years ago now, so I don't know what in terms now that would be. Probably about £1,000, it would be fair to say,
Easily,
round about that.
Yeah.
So Celtic Gap was the biggest ever share issue at any football club had ever achieved in terms of the amount raised. Why do you think it is that the zombies aren't buying into Mr. Green? Do you think it's they don't trust him? Do you think it's just their mindset that they don't want to dig deep and own part of what they say? They say it's the same club, so why do you think it looks as if it's going to be a failure?
For me, there's probably a whole host of reasons, but to sum it up in terms of you comparing our share issue all those years ago with the value that you had to dip in to actually buy your shares, it just clearly shows the difference between the feeling that the Celtic fans have for their club and the feeling that the zombies have for their dead club.
And very succinctly and concisely put, Papa. Well said. But at the time of the Celtic share issue, I mean, we didn't have all these massive assets that the zombies have. Our stadium's worth 60 odd million. I don't know what Celtic Park was worth then. It was been what,
Before redevelopment,
60 grand maybe. And they've got the beautiful training, the state-of-the-art Murray Park. I mean, it's storm damage accepted, but they'll get that fixed eventually. So I mean, they've got 400% return, I'm hearing. Why are they not buying into it? I just don't understand this at all. Andy, have you got any? Sorry, I'm looking at Scott. That's my squint. No thoughts on it? Don't even care.
Personally, I don't take interest in them. I think that Charles Green is a bit of a ham shanker, isn't he?
Aye.
Is that going David Ramsey to cross the road?
Aye. So, it'll be interesting to see how it pans out anyway. No doubt in the next couple of podcasts we'll be able to work out what Andy was talking about, but also
The bit that got me, and I'm glad your brother Kevin's not here. I actually read Keith's Union Jackson the day in the Daily Record, which you wouldn't do. You wouldn't read that, like, you know. And he's talking about the Rangers share issue. And I thought, well, usually when it comes to things like that, I'd skip the page if I don't get near the spin with it. I read it, and I couldn't believe what I was reading. I have no interest in the share issue or anything like that. But he was actually quoting figures, and he was saying, well, when Charles set this out, it was 22 million. No, that was a thing. But he was saving some, because he could sell them all to all these big businessmen down in London, wanted party Rangers.
Aye.
You know? So
Obviously,
he could sell these shares, but he wanted to keep back an amount for his supporters to get their say.
He's nice that way, he's a nice man.
And I think Jackass quoted something like 22 million, and he says, but it looks as if they'll be lucky to get 2 million.
Oh?
Now, I don't believe a word that comes out of his mouth.
Aye.
I couldn't believe this. It was actually...
He was saying it?
He was actually saying things against it. I've been rattling things. And
Maybe,
I thought,
maybe,
must be true.
Maybe he had got Jim Traynor in the Secret Santa last year. They got him a rubbish present.
I bet it's him taking over for it.
Aye, but maybe
as you know,
that's a resentment.
Mr. Trainor's no longer with the Daily Record.
That's a shame.
He's back to his old job with the Daily Ranger. Rangers Media.
Aye, that's an interesting
But, I
one
mean,
as well.
Jackson was quite
Critical
of it, you know.
Good.
And I just couldn't understand what was going on.
Aye,
But he did say there was still time.
from my... I've read a bit online, various contributors, and there was actually a Rangers fan had done quite a very critical overview of the prospectus and almost advising people not to invest in it. And it's the first time I've read anything that really got to the nub of the matter from a financial perspective, that it didn't stack up. I mean, it invented a 17 million profit in this prospectus. Just added, I wonder what will be. Would you think 16 million? No, that's not enough. And put in a figure totally made up. But aye, so it'll be interesting to see. I hope no Rangers fans listen to this and they all invest as much as they can in the share issue, because it's going to line other people's pockets.
Another wee thing, like, it's like, I know we're going to come on to it, but maybe they're all going to get shares for their Christmas.
Maybe. That's after the closing date, but Jim.
It's Rangers.
We'll get an extension.
It's the Rangers supporters we're talking about. They don't know.
Yeah, you never got an
They can
extension.
do it, Santa can. That's it.
Okay, so...
I take it you all saw the bat in the Montrose programme.
Oh, just fantastic.
Well, they apologise.
It was on the news today that they apologised.
They had to, they've released
I don't know what they
an
said.
apology.
What are they apologising for?
They're both
Telling the truth?
The now defunct club.
Is that what they said?
Chasing their first ever piece of silverware. Wonderful.
What was
like
it? Who's the goalkeeper? Who's their goalkeeper? Alexander. Because it said Alexander transferred from from the old club. But it was interesting anyway. But we need to move on.
Shambolic.
Thanks for that, Chico. Yes, shambolic. So the subject flung your way this week was, strangely enough, Christmas. Well, we covered that one, and before I go round you all, I want you to think also what's been your highlight of 2012, because there's been a lot happened this year. So the subject, the shambolic, was in two parts. Firstly, Christmas memories of Celtic, present or past games, or indeed gifts. And secondly, what would be your Celtic Christmas wish or present for this year? Stephen, I'm going to start with you. So firstly, Christmas memories.
The first thing that jumped out at me, I wanted to talk about a Christmas memory, obviously out with some of the more popular choices. And I remember, I don't know whether Brian and Keiran will remember this, the younger lads won't, Mr. C might. Centenary season, we actually played Red Star Belgrade on Boxing Day, which was quite unusual. And I was doing a wee bit of online, having a look around today, and saw the match day programme and different bits and bobs like that, which I've got here, which was, there we go, Celtic Park, Monday 26th of December, Celtic v Red Star Belgrade, which was quite interesting, and it was billed as the Centenary Challenge match. But the thing that I remember most about that game was, I can remember going along to it. It was a 2-each draw. Andy Walker got a couple of goals, but there was a chap who played for Red Star Belgrade at the time, and funnily enough was a kind of number 10 type player, Robert Prosinecki. Remember him?
Aye.
Ended up at Croatia Zagreb whenever we played against them.
Aye, and I was in the
fantastic player.
He was an absolutely brilliant player, and I was in the jungle.
Smoked 40 a day.
That day. He did. I was in the jungle that Boxing Day for that game, and there was this mental rumour going around the jungle, as only the jungle could carry rumours, that at half time there was going to be a table brought onto the centre spot and Robert Prosinecki was signing for us.
Stephen, did you start this rumour?
That was his Christmas wish that year.
Exactly. So
when I seen him at Celtic Park, he was a great
he was
player.
a phenomenal player, wasn't he?
He was. Oh, that's... Do you know, I don't remember that at all, and I might have been at the game, but I just don't recall it. I don't. No, I don't.
No,
At all.
There we go.
Jim, Christmas memories.
I was trying to. I've been
See,
thinking
the
about
one
it.
I was thinking that you might have remembered would be when we used to play on Christmas Day.
I was trying to think back to playing on Christmas Day and all. I couldn't think here.
Aye, there was right up to the 70s.
Yep, middle of the 70s.
Mid to
yeah.
late 70s playing on Christmas Day. You get New Year's Day off, John Knox's Christmas.
Well, I mean, when I was younger, I remember he didn't get Christmas Day off. My dad worked Christmas Day.
Aye,
quite
it was,
a lot, you know.
it was, I think, it's 60s.
Because I remember being
became a
up
public
in the
holiday.
morning with your toys and everything. My dad going out to work.
Aye.
But I couldn't think anything significant in the Celtic Christmas Day. There was just nothing coming up. You know.
Aye, what about gifts? You must have had.
As I say, we've been way back in the days. You were lucky if you got anything, never mind getting something Celtic. All I can remember is in the recent years, and I was married, not peers maybe, it's a Christmas card. So I always had to get into Parkhead, Celtic Park, and buy so many Christmas cards. Because I had a great friend in Carluke at the time, and he loved to get a Christmas card and give it to all his pals up in Castle Hall Bowling Club.
Oh, aye.
And I was the only thing I could remember was all these Christmas cards he used to get with Celtic players, you know, Celtic great paintings and that. I really couldn't think of him, you know.
Keiran?
It'd be a game for me, and it was Celtic versus Aberdeen on Boxing Day, when Paolo Di Canio scored one of the best goals I think I've ever seen. And I wasn't at the game. I watched it round at Jerry and Treese's Boxing Day party that they used to have every year.
I'll just interject. Mr. C, who just says he can't remember anything about Christmas, was at the game. And I was also at the game, and I know why Mr. C can't remember anything about Christmas and Celtic games.
So
sorry.
That goal, just the sitting in Jerry's wee dugout kind of living room, crammed into it. There must have been at least 20s in there watching the game, and the ball goes forward. But what actually happened, Celtic had broke up the park that quickly that Sky were still showing the replay of something, and it just flicked, and Di Canio was actually just flicking the ball over the keeper, and then runs to the other side, slots the ball in, and as he ran across the Celtic fans, just turned his back and with his two hands kind of pointing to the number. It was just, and the room went absolutely berserk. There was bodies everywhere. So that was a good Christmas memory. In general, I always like round about Christmas time because there are a lot of games kind of happening. So it feels as if you've got a game nearly every second day.
There's 4 coming up.
You're kind of, it's like boom, 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 one after the other. So it's always good for the football at Christmas. Plus, most people have time off and they're kind of a wee bit merry with the drink and stuff. So I always like it around about this time of year. I'm looking forward to Dundee and Boxing Day because I'm sure I'll be merry that day myself on the drink.
That game, we had a few people tweet in, and that the golden boots.
The golden boots.
With Pantoffel Adoro.
And then they then auctioned them off, didn't they?
They did. A lot of
I might
money.
be wrong in saying, was it £15,000 they went for, or am I just talking?
Maybe even more.
They went for a lot.
Were you with us that day?
Yeah, we got the bus. We got Cross Keys.
No, I was with Dolan.
Oh, were you? No, well, I got.
I was up with you that day, aye.
With Dolan, is that the date we ended up back in Doyle's?
No, I don't think that was that game. I think that was another game.
Sure it was.
Was it?
Sure it was that game we ended up.
Doyle's?
When Jim Doyle stayed with your mum and dad.
Oh,
stayed.
right.
Dolan, we drove back and we were only going to make. Dolan wasn't going to be able to get up the road in time to see the highlights on the television.
So
we went into Doyle's. This is midnight. That time. And we went into Doyle's to sit
get him out his bed. No, I had went up in the Cross Keys bus in Wishaw. Me and my cousin Jared. Two sensible chaps on their way to watch a soccer match.
Spray cannon inside pocket.
So moving on swiftly, Andy, any Christmas memories?
I haven't, do you know that? I've not.
So you've had time to think about your Christmas wish then? What's your Christmas wish for this year?
If it to be any, it'd be for Hearts to go out the game.
Yes. That would be nice.
Hearts to get the game.
It was great, that last game, no Huns in Scotland.
You could hear it really loud on the TV as well.
What about you then, Scott?
Just talking about presents and things, just growing up I can just remember getting, every year they get the Celtic annual for the Celtic shop, and I'm just trying to think, last year was quite a good kind of Christmas memory, the Old Firm on the 28th, I thought that, because all from,
I forgot about that game.
I was kind of, it was about this time, it was probably about this time last year, and everybody's kind of counting down to Christmas, and I'm just kind of counting down to the 28th. I was more looking forward to that than...
Was that a 3-0 game?
No, it was 1-0 Joe Wedley scored the and that was a brilliant day, that.
That's a good one, actually.
So there was a few people tweeted in. James Folds on Twitter, his first Celtic strip, Christmas, early 60s. The reserve top, Jim, you might remember this, white with a huge shamrock, he said. He said it's now a classic. And someone else tweeted when they seen that tweet come through, they said they got their first Celtic top Christmas, which was the 88 centenary strip, which had the wee badge, a different badge on it, with the cross that they've got on this one. And one that I remember was getting my first Celtic strip was the green one. Well, before that I had the white with the green pinstripe. You remember that? And that's again another classic.
Well, they had see that white with the green pinstripe. They had the converse of that. The green,
Kevin had that one.
The green with the white pinstripe. But see the thing that I remember about Christmas and getting strips was, do you remember they came in a box?
It was beautiful.
So it came right boys. It came in a box, right, and the box kind of opened out like that. On your left hand side.
For the listeners, Stephen's just demonstrated how to open a box.
So on the left hand side you had your jersey, and on the right hand side you had your wee window with your socks and your shorts on it. That was
Folded
brilliant.
perfectly, packed perfectly.
It's magic when
Magic. Just beautiful. They don't make them like that anymore, boys.
But you wiped it for the money you're paying for one of these strips now. That's the way it should be wrapped.
This time of year, you're just talking about Christmas and Celtic, just try to think at the games usually get your kind of daft made up on the spot. You get some good songs and there's always like kind of good banter going about at the games. Even at Arbroath it was kind of it's a good laugh. But even this time last year we were up at St Johnston away a week before Christmas, and everybody's singing, you know, the Pogues and Fairy Tale in New York, and it was just everybody's singing a lot of rubbish. 10 Henrik Larsson, no, and the 12th Day Christmas song, the
12 Days of Christmas.
That.
It's interesting. There was the fanzine Knock of You had. They used to print the Christmas carols but change the words, and we ended up playing at Pittodrie almost every season.
We did,
for a number of years.
Canada used to Pittodrie.
Always round about Christmas, and it used to be the stop at places like you boys are going to be doing on Wednesday, and they would have karaoke's and they'd take over the place singing these Christmas carols, but with the words changed.
I was doing it on Wednesday and Arbroath, but just the 12 Days of Christmas to the Wanyama. And then the music man, he has the Kenyan man, he comes from far away.
Kenya is pretty far away. So, the other thing that I mentioned to you there just before we went round was to think of your highlight of 2012. Now, there's been a number, obviously winning the league, the death of the dark side. Well, was it the death? Who knows? And Andy, what do you think? What was your highlight of 2012?
This year's been a great year, I think. You know what I mean? We've achieved a lot of things, but for me, it's got to be probably the biggest one. Qualifying and getting into the last 16 in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I think for a Scottish team, and what people say the state Scottish football is
Armageddon.
Exactly. I think that's a fantastic achievement, not just for Celtic, but for all the Scottish football apart from Hearts and Sevco.
Jim?
I think
highlight?
I think the same as Andy there. It has been some year, and no want to go on because it sort of drags on all year about the death. I think winning the league, beating Barcelona, their highlights, even to me, I've seen Barcelona was
something special.
Just
it was something special.
To see Rod Stewart crying, you know, never gave me back my hanky.
Like a kind of specific memory would probably be just the whole day out at Kilmarnock to winning the league, the whole.
The
Shambolic day out.
That was like
that. And I would go a bit of a different one. I'd say getting that first away win against Spartak Moscow. See, when we got that, I was still in shock for a good. It's kind of realisation that we could maybe do something this year, and it was that's probably one of my favourite results this year.
It was interesting. My wee boy's in primary 7 at the local primary school, and my son's not into football, but my nephew's in the same class, and their teacher promised to buy the class a cake, everyone in the class a cake, if Celtic beat Spartak. Obviously, based on Celtic's previous Champions League record, he thought his money was safe. Well, Greg's done a roaring trade the next morning. The kids come in, all singing. What was it? The song they made up a song, "Cakes and Yum Yums in the Champions League" or something. It was absolute. Wee Aidan had made it up, so I think he enjoyed that. It wasn't too good for their health. But Keiran, your favourite memory of 2012?
Winning the league.
Yeah.
I think from where we were, probably October, November time last year, down at Kilmarnock, we were 3-0 down, and I think there were murmurings about the manager might not last. To come from that position to then going on and winning the league was just unbelievable. The only thing I would have trumped that was if we had done the double or the treble. I think we had the opportunity, but winning the league for me was the best. Barcelona was great, but winning the league.
And Stephen, last but no means least,
Barcelona.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yep. Like Mr. C says, lots and lots and lots of wonderful Celtic memories that I can count myself fortunate to have been at, witnessed. But no, Barcelona for me is the highlight of the year.
Aye.
And
well,
BJ, yours?
Oh dear. I hadn't thought of this. I didn't know I was going to get put in the spot and asked for an answer on it. What gave me the best feeling was Barcelona. The sheer joy. I don't know if you heard Chris Kawaja's commentary of Tony Watt scoring.
Tony F and Watt?
Aye, Tony F and Watt. It is amazing and portrays exactly how I felt at that moment in time. It is outstanding. If you don't know it, or if you've not heard it, look it up on YouTube. Tony F and Watt. It is amazing. And the way that made me feel that game was the best of many years following Celtic, and we've had some great memories, but 2012 has been a fantastic year in so many things, and a very close second to the way I felt is them's finally been found out for what we suffered for a number of years, what we witnessed for a number of years, and what we kind of knew inside ourselves but get labelled as having a mental illness if we spoke about it, been labelled paranoid if we ever spoke about it or questioned what was happening in the Scottish game. But it still didn't come close to beating Barcelona. So, but I think on that note, we're going to need to wrap it up. I didn't mean to speak as much as that. I'm sorry, Richard. You might need to come out of retirement after this shambolic show.
Is this the last show of the year?
This is the final show of the year. But so that's us. I'm Brian at BJMax67 on Twitter, and on our panel have been
Andy,
Scott,
Keiran,
Mr. C.
Stephen.
Hail, hail.
Happy New Year, everybody.
The thing I want to see the most is the Glasgow Celtic score. I've been to Munich, been to Paris and Berlin. I watched injustice fall upon you in Turin, and I've shared the pain and glory with the friends that I have made as I dance from place to place in green and white on a worldwide tin parade.